Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another exciting, informative, educational, amazing, entertaining episode of Clinic Gym Radio. I'm your host, Dr. Josh Satterlee, and I'm pleased to be joined by the Doctor of Clear Marketing, Jon Morrison. Jon, how are you, buddy?
I'm doing great, Josh. So good to be back.
I know. Return guest. You're our only return international guest.
There you go. Happy to hang out with you. That's the great opportunity, Josh. I've loved building a relationship with you over these past months, and I'm happy to serve your listeners however we can today.
Awesome. Well, you are an expert in the world of marketing. Those people who listened before probably hear about it, but can you give us just like 30 seconds of who you are and throw out your website early on? Because I'm sure at some point somebody's going to go, oh my God, the man is like the Rosetta Stone for marketing. He translates hieroglyphics into usable language. I want to hire him. So go ahead.
Well, first off, I hope my mother-in-law is listening to all this, because they say behind every successful marketer is a supportive wife and a surprised mother-in-law, right? So right. To hear your accolades is impressive. My name is Jon Morrison. I lead a business called Get Clear Consulting. We help people create clear messages that connect with the people that they're trying to reach, the people you want to influence, the people you want to help. And in order to do that, you have to speak to them in a way that they can clearly understand and know what to do next. So that's what I do. Our website is getclear.ca because we are a proud Canadian company, though the truth is most of our clients are from the great United States of America, also known as Canada's shorts. But I always tell Dr. Kevin Christie, what does that make Florida if America is Canada's shorts?
That's awesome. All right. Well, let's not visualize the shape of the state of Florida, and let's move on. Yeah. So now saying that, everybody's visualizing the shape of the state of Florida. Anyway,
I think they're swearing on this podcast every once in a while, right? So I didn't feel so bad saying that.
Yeah, every once in a while.
Yeah, so, I've heard a couple of swears on this podcast.
Just for everybody listening, it is getclear.ca, not .com, because you have communist healthcare up there, so that's why it's not Dr. No, I'm just kidding. All right, so Jon, I think the exciting thing since the last time you were on, the time that we actually met in person was at the recent Parker seminar here in Las Vegas, which of all the American cities for you to land in, Las Vegas is everything that people think America does, excessively gamble, excessively eat, hot women, all the good things. But anyways, you were there for the Parker convention as basically a dude that wasn't a chiropractor, right? Just kind of, hey, I work with chiropractors, I know, but you were there to kind of get fully immersive, right? And see what was going on. What'd you think?
Yeah. And you know what? Hang out with friends. I didn't realize how few sessions you guys actually go to when you go to a conference.
Cool. We're supposed to get CEUs for that. So
yeah. Josh bought me a drink, which was great. I appreciate that. And just get to hang out. I mean, getting to know the personalities of some of the people that post online on the FTCA, getting to know the hosts of the podcast that I've been on, getting to know clients even more. So I got to hang out with a good friend of mine, Dr. Aaron Jorgensen, and we just have a great time when we're hanging out. We talk a little marketing, we talk a little life, we talk about anything. And it was just fun to get to spend time with him and to support my friend Kevin and Josh. You were presenting as well. So yeah. I got a chance to spend
you met time. Bobby, right? Bobby, maybe the head of the FTCA.
Of course. Yeah. We had fun too. Bobby's gotten a little out of my range now. He's hard to access. And so I know my role. I just get to bow when he walks by, and that's about it. But it was great.
Let me ask you this. You're all about clear messaging, and you were around chiropractic, and chiropractic has over 31 flavors. There are many versions of it: pediatric, straight, sports, the forward thinkers, all that. When you walked around, anything that struck you about, man, they're missing the ability to connect via this, or missing the ability to connect with the right who via that? Did you see any of that?
Yeah, I mean, I probably was there eyes wide open because about a year ago, before I got hanging out with chiropractors, I didn't even know there was a difference. I had been a hockey player growing up, so I had an evidence-informed chiropractor, and I didn't know there was anything else other than that until I started talking to some of my clients. And in fact, probably the last time, Josh, that I was on this, I was saying, like, you don't need to make a distinction about if you're this or that. Just help people get free from pain, make them feel better. I didn't even realize that was like an evidence-informed or evidence-based perspective was freedom from pain. I once got a chance to potentially work with a guy. He was taking bids, and so he actually said, I don't want to talk to Jon because he plays for that other team. And I was like, well, what do you mean? He goes, well, all your clients are, they talk about being free from pain. And I don't want to talk about being free from pain. I was like, what are you talking about? Like, how are you going to get people in the door then? Well, I'm going to help take your money, or I'm going to help make you feel like you're never coming in enough, or that your spine's out of line. Like, no one walks around saying, I think I'm having a subluxation today, right? It's like they have a bad back. I can't play with my kids. And I'm actually, struggling to play a full round of golf without it feeling like my hips are going to blow up. And so I think the evidence-informed crowd has a far better advantage in marketing because you're talking to people's actual pain points rather than making up their own pain points.
And literal and figurative pain points, right?
Yeah, exactly. So as I'm walking around Parker, I'm just thinking, the people that I connect with are the ones that really buy into story brand, the ones who stop me as I was walking saying, hey, thanks for how you helped me. The only reason they care is because at story brand, we talk about really making sure you're dialed into the people that you want to reach. And why would they want to come and visit a chiropractor? It's because they've got stiff joints and they're scared of surgery. They want a natural conservative treatment plan. And, they have pain and they've been in a huge accident and they've just never felt like themselves again. They want to be able to play with their kids. The list goes on. To me, the evidence-informed crowd is way closer to the heart of their patients. And that's why, they even talk about being patient-centered. Like, I want my DC to be patient-centered, to care about me, because I need to win my story. So that's kind of the people that I gravitate more towards. And I think probably, I don't think a ton of the other side is listening to this episode,
Well, we can hope not. Yeah.
Yeah, I would imagine they don't, but they've probably drawn their own lines about, we don't even want to talk about that kind of marketing, where I'm like, that's the only kind of marketing that people actually care about. So if there's someone listening, I would just say, put freedom from pain, or doing what you love, or getting back to doing the things you love, or feeling like yourself again. Those are the kind of things that me, as somebody who struggles even with chronic pain, I want to be given that hope again. And so
that's really the language that our customer would use, right? All the time in professional industries, whether it's accountants or attorneys, you would say, I want to hire an attorney, but they say retain an attorney. So on their website, it might say like retention strategies. And it's like,
right.
Well, am I holding back water? Or what am I doing here? Like, no, I'm trying to hire an attorney.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So every industry has their own insider language, right? And so the tension is really, how do you take that 9 or a 10 level that you think about? So how do you make McKenzie methods simple to understand what they do for you, right? We will give you simple exercises and stretches that will make your back feel great again. I don't need to know that it's McKenzie or Graston or active release or whatever you do. Just help me deal with this ache in my back.
Yeah.
Right? But also, you can also say stuff like, we've got these credentials that have set us aside, because I think people like talking about Graston and McKenzie because these are very important to you. But there's a time and a place where you should be talking about it. So really, when you're marketing, you got to take it down to a 2 or a 3 rather than the 9 or a 10 of which you talk about at Parker, right? You don't need to have a picture of you with Stuart McKenzie in your about page, because people don't necessarily know who he is. They just want to know you've taken some important courses to giving people non-invasive, non-surgical ways to feel better. And you just happen to think McKenzie is the best tool that you use, right?
Right.
Imagine like a contractor who's got a picture of like a saw and a ruler or a tape measure, and
we only use Makita, and it's like,
we only use, I don't really care. Show me a picture of the beautiful houses that you build, and then I'll make my decision.
Right. All right. So you actually worked with quite a few chiropractors, right?
Yes, that's right.
And what is some of the language, so the folks listening can start out with just a little screen of, am I being clear with the right people I want to serve? What is some common language you see on chiropractic websites that maybe you as a consumer and a marketing specialist go, this is not the best words to use. These are not the best words to use.
Gosh, I try not to focus on the before pictures, but I guess it's part of it. Again, using very complicated language, multi-syllables. People really want to browse your website. And so sometimes it's not even the words you have, but maybe there's too many words on the page, or there's not enough use of headlines and sub-headlines. So if you think of a newspaper, Josh, you have a big headline, like we call it above the fold. So that's what you see when the newspaper's folded. That's got to be a big, clear headline about what you can
Tons of
offer.
white space too, right at the top of.
Yeah, lots of white
Always white
space.
space.
And a picture of people. Like you got to have people doing something that is active and the ideal self of the people you want to help. Maybe
Well,
it's
in
something
chiropractic, that's easy. Like it should be a picture above the fold of me working with, a human, right?
yeah, a human, or even just a human running, or a human hiking, or a human picking up their grandkids if your demographic is older. I mean, you got to pick your target and take the most ideal picture of them. And then if you have a picture, I mean, not everybody has a picture. This is where it gets tough in your community, because you have people that don't necessarily do adjustments. And when people think of chiropractors, they think, oh, get a happy person getting an adjustment. But I mean, some people in the evidence-informed community are trying to get away from that. So I can't even say get an adjustment picture. I just think getting active, healthy people doing stuff that they love doing is kind of that ideal self you want to project. People want to see themselves in your main banner image. And then having some other headlines, a good call to action is strong. I see a lot of websites with no clear call to action. So people don't know what's the first step. Do I got to call the office? But a lot of times people have direct, you can book yourself right in through the software. It saves a bit of time. And I've heard there's
people that are in pain at 9:30 or at night can book for tomorrow morning. It's great.
Totally. And jump ahead of the line too, right?
Yeah.
Like maybe you could use that thing, like, hey, reserve the spot that you want. And so there's lots of cool things that you can put a big call to action so people know, if you're convinced, if you're sold on the language that we're using here, here's the next step to take. And then I would always talk about the problem that you solve. Like there's a problem that exists in the world. That's why chiropractors are here. And so talk about that underneath the fold, and that's going to hook people. So there's got to be some kind of a hook that says you should read the rest of this. I look for it in every business, not just chiropractor pages, but yeah, I mean, I think it's an important distinction that makes people interested, because it's a hook that actually gets you interested in a story. Right? If I was just rambling on about my day of how, I had to drop off my kids at school, and then I went to run an errand, and then I went to meet with a client, and then I went for lunch, and then this is what I ordered, and this is what I had for drink, and this is when I paid. You're like, where is this story going? Yeah. It's only when you wouldn't believe what happened. I was driving already late, and my tire got flat, and then this happened. It's like, oh, your tire got flat when you were already late. You must have been totally stressed. How did that all resolve? The problem is what hooks people to your story. Otherwise, they just think you're rambling. So talk about the problem.
Without a problem, there is no story, as they say. Like without a problem, there's no movie. There's no play.
Exactly. And as soon as the problem is resolved, people lose interest, right?
Right. I mean, if Romeo and Juliet's parents were cool about it, like, what do you want? Like, there's nothing here. It's a story.
Liam Neeson's kid never gets kidnapped, then there's no taking, right? And if he solves it within the first 5 minutes.
Yeah, he makes one phone call. Oh, she's at Jenny's house. We're good.
Yeah. And what do they do? They go, oh, I'll pick her up for coffee and let's go talk about her exams and some boys that she's interested in. It's like, there's no real story there. It's the problem that guides us.
What would be a good, let's dive down that a little bit. What would be a good problem for the local chiropractor? Because what we say is, you come to our office, we will do an examination, and then we will, we will treat you with respect, and then we will do our 5-day care plan, and you will feel better with an ice pack. Like all these things that are just, there's no grab, right?
Yeah. So I would say something like, I would talk about the problem and then the emotion that's attached to it, because people aren't just robots, or they're not like Spock. They're not just logical. There's emotions tied to their problem. So I would say too many people struggle with constant anxiety, or you could say frustration, as they deal with lower back problems or pain. You could just just say pain is the catch-all. They deal with pain that they think there's no solution to other than surgery. Or too many people are afraid that surgery is the only solution to their pain. You could say too many people are struggling to enjoy the life that they've wanted,
right?
That they've lived for so long, but now because of an accident, they have no hope. Right? So
they're scared. Let me try something. So tell me how I'm doing here. So they're scared that the pain they have is never going to go away.
Yeah, exactly. Something very, and there's no alternative to surgery. I mean, if you want to drop the S-bomb on them, like the surgery thing, I think that's a huge, like going under the knife and getting, okay, let me just give you the example. If someone said to me, you could get this natural treatment plan, or you could have some doctor carve you up with a scalpel and put in an artificial, thing into your, put some plastic in your body or something, or whatever they use, titanium or anything, put some alien substance in your body, or you could do these stretches, exercises, and adjustments. Which one would you rather pick? Well, I'm scared to death of being put under.
Yeah, that carve word made me squirm, brother. That was good.
Yeah, I don't want to be carved up by some masked men.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'd rather take a program from you any day.
Mm-hmm.
And so at least it gives me some hope that there's a chance. I mean, maybe surgery is the best thing. And certainly you guys aren't saying you're not against surgery, but use surgery as a last resort. So you start talking about that, and now you're speaking to people. And now tell me what you're going to be able to do to get me out of it, and then that's where we usually get a few icons or benefits. We're not talking always about the features of what we do. We're not talking about the tools we use. We're talking about the outcomes. So feel better.
Go hiking again.
Go hiking. Yeah. Whatever it may be that you can really spark hope again in somebody in pain. And then I would write underneath it, they say, okay, you can offer all this. Why you? And then it's okay to talk about yourself. Maybe one of the corrections that I can give of people that read Building a Story Brand, and they understand, like, I need to play the guide and not the hero. One of the mistakes they make is they think, well, I can't talk about myself at all. And I'd say, no, it's okay to talk about yourself in an appropriate way, as a guide would, right? A guide would say, I'm going to make a human-to-human connection with you. So rather than saying, Dr. Josh Satterlee has gone to school here, he's been educated with these other tools, these techniques that he uses, and this is where he was born. What if Josh said, Josh Satterlee understands the pain or the frustration that comes with not being able to enjoy your life, or not being able to go to work and contribute. Right? All of a sudden, it's like Josh, your heart is broken for the state of your patients in pain, and it's okay to tell them that, because you're making a human-to-human connection. Right? You may not even have been in a car accident. You may not have even had a major debilitating injury before. However, you've had enough people come in that this is really scary for people, and it's really sad when it happens. So just talk to them about that. Make it that human connection, and then talk about, it's not just I'm any human. I'm actually a doctor, and this is what I do. This is who I specialize in helping. And then in case they're like, well, I don't buy it. Okay, now it's a place for your testimonials. In Canada, we have some red tape, in that we're not allowed to put testimonials because they might be faked, or the college comes after you. We're allowed to put Google reviews as is, but not testimonials. So that's an advantage for, that's the problem with being in a socialist country. People always think we're so
But if you had the ability to do testimonials for your Canadian clients, you'd definitely do them, huh?
Oh, for sure. 12 times out of 10. And they would all say the same thing. I was in pain, or I was frustrated because of this pain that I was in. And then I went to go see Dr. Satterlee, and now today I feel great, and I'm doing the things I love. Just 3 sentences. One, I had a before problem. Secondly, this is what I did to solve it. It was calling this guide, this doctor. And then now I feel great again, right? It's just a before and after snapshot. It's not, Josh and I go way back. He's a big Las Vegas Knights fan. Go Knights. It's not all that kind of jibber jabber that we would put in there. It's just very intentional. If you want to get testimonials like that, you just send them an email. Say, can you answer these 3 questions? What was it like before you called me? 2, what were the circumstances that led you to come? And 3, how are you feeling today? And pick your favorite people, and then you have a glowing testimonial.
Love
if
it.
that is too much for them, another thing you can do is just answer those questions for them. What do I remember you were telling me about before you came? Secondly, what can I say about you calling me? And thirdly, what do I think your life is like now? And then send it to them. And what that does is it saves them some time, right? Because that ideal testimonial, that ideal patient you've had, they're sitting there thinking, I got 11 things to do, and Dr. Josh has opened himself up, and he's wanting a testimonial. Okay, I should do it. I can't say no to my, this guy who's helped me so much.
Number one guy.
Now it sits there, and they're like, oh, but I'm not great with words, and I don't even have time. I gotta really do a good job of this. But then it sits there, and your web design person's like, come on, I need your testimonial, or you want to get this website live, and you're waiting for this testimonial. So instead, you write it out, you send it to them, say, does this match your experience? And they say, YES. That takes 3 seconds, 1 second per letter, even if they're slow. They send it back, and now you have a testimonial.
I had some good results one time before I met you, and I called somebody. I needed some testimonials, and I called them. I said, hey, I'm trying to get some testimonials. Would you mind giving me one? Yeah. Most people agree. And then
Yeah.
I guided them through like, so I remember that you were like this. And then at the end of it, you mind if I use what you just said, on my website? Oh, of course. That's not a problem.
Perfect.
I
Yeah.
think it also got the benefit of they liked getting the phone call. They like, me
Yeah.
calling them. They felt special.
Yeah,
Like,
for sure.
yeah. So that
Yeah.
you
And
get that
doing the
inherent,
same with Google reviews
Google.
too, right?
Yeah.
If you could just have some sort of email software that blasts all your patients and just say, hey, we would really love if you've had a great experience, or, we just want an honest review. Use the word honest review. People like that. They don't want to feel manipulated.
Mm-hmm.
And if you could just answer these 3 questions on your review, that would get us the most traction. You could even blame me. Say, I was listening to a marketer yabber on, this Canadian guy, about the importance of Google reviews for our SEO and just overall presence. And, he said this was a good idea. Would you mind doing this? I chose you because I think you would represent our patients well. And they would probably feel flattered.
Love
Just
it.
give the link to the Google review, and then.
By the way, all those people listening, do not ask people to write that review in your office. I found this out the hard way. Well, Google matches IP addresses, and if they think if you're in there doing the Google review, and I hand you like a candy bar, like,
Right.
So when you said blast out the email, you want to do that when they're off site, so that when they fill it out from their own IP address, Google will treat that with a heavier weight than.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah, I didn't know that. A friend of mine had this whole thing, and he collected 50 Google reviews, and he said, like, they are the deepest of the deep. Google's like, these all came from the same IP address.
Oh,
like if you're speaking, like I know you're speaking at that TED Talk, right?
Yeah.
If you have everybody in the audience do a Google review at that moment, like Google goes, what the heck? How come we got, 400 of them with exactly the same IP address?
Well, I better change my point then. I guess point number 3
Oh,
is
I think emailing them is the best way, because if they do it at home or at their office or anywhere but your office, now it's different, right?
No, I meant in my TED Talk. I can't say pull out your phone and please leave me a review if you like this talk.
No, that's true.
Just kidding. Just kidding.
Hey, it's Dr. Josh. I want to let you know some exciting news I just found out. I was talking to the guys over at Racket Fit and On Base U, and it turns out that both those courses are now approved for 13 hours of continuing chiropractic education. So each course is approved for its own 13 hours. So if you're looking at what the next CEU course you want to do and you need the hours for your state, check out racketfit.com, racketfit.com, or onbaseu.com. Onbase, the letter U.com, short for university, all right? If you're working in the population of tennis, or you want to kind of get into that country club crowd, doing the Racket Fit certification I think is absolutely fantastic. And if you are working in baseball, which I think is like the next frontier for a lot of the care that we provide, I think it's a fantastic group of people that are just kind of coming into the idea of assessments and performance measures and technology stats, then you definitely want to check out On Base U. I think these are both great courses. I've taken them. I teach them. I believe in them. So check them out, racketfit.com and onbaseu.com, and email me if you have any questions. Thanks.
All right, keep going, Josh. We're on testimonials. We're
all right, so I know that you have worked with some
trustworthy guide. Yeah.
Yeah, so I know you have worked with some chiropractors, dentists, like this local professional, right?
Yeah.
And so when you worked with our friend who has very little hair, how about that? We want name names, But
we'll say Aaron J. Yeah.
Yeah.
No one will know who we're talking about.
We'll say Aaron Jorgensen, right? Totally different name. Yeah.
No. Yeah, we'll say A. Jorgensen. That's right. That's better.
Yeah. So, but when you're working with him, he has a practice that focuses mostly on the like PI side of chiropractic, which is one of the, as I say, like 31 flavors, and he had a good business, but when you like reviewed his old stuff, and then how did you decide what you wanted to go after and what you want to say on the website to supercharge it?
Yeah.
I mean, things were working. Like his engine was spinning, man. Like he didn't, it wasn't like he was some slouch. Like he's kicking butt.
When we came to Aaron, God bless his soul, he's a good guy because he loves to invest in his marketing. So he will do whatever it takes to reach the right people. And I love working with him because when good people want to reach good people, I just say, yeah, we want to get the guys with the white hats. Literally, you're wearing a white hat today. That's good to see.
You know what D that is, by the way?
It looks
Disney,
like
baby.
Detroit.
Disney.
Yeah. Disneyland. I like it. So Aaron would be the kind of guy that I want to connect anybody who's been in an auto accident or any kind of injury with. So we're going to use all the tools. So Aaron was using some tools that weren't really working. He was working with an SEO specialist who just kind of, I don't know how to say bastardized the copy, but it kind of was in that it just didn't flow. It didn't look great. Design wise, he could use some help. So we just kind of gave it a refresh with some of the copy. We used StoryBrand principles, but Google still wasn't catching on. So we had to do some different kind of SEO tactics and got him from page 3. And I mean, people that have been following me, know that I always say that the best place to bury a body these days is on the 3rd page of Google. No one will ever find you there.
That's funny.
So it's weird. Aaron had this huge practice, tons of Google reviews, seeming to do everything right, and yet was buried on page 3. So we had to do some other tactics to get him to page 1. One of them was just cleaning up some of the copy so that it's more engaging, put a few more videos on, because Google, as you know, they like videos because people are spending more time on the site. And then what Aaron did, and this is probably, he's a unicorn in this, but he's got all kinds of services in one location. So he's got a nurse practitioner there. He's got physical therapy. He's got a masseuse, and he's got a chiropractor, a couple of chiropractors. But what that does is we just really played off that angle of convenience. So imagine you were in an accident and you were sent, you want to do your chiropractor, you were referred out. So he really does a good job of getting doctors to refer to him, like other, maybe even some lawyers he works with. But at the emergency room, he really wants to be one of their number one referrals. So I think that's an important conversation that he probably would do better with. He's got a gym there for rehab purposes. So all these things in one location. Well, traditionally you'd have to go to your gym and you have to go to your doctor to get your prescription. Then you go to your chiro, and then you're driving all over town all throughout the week. Imagine if you had everybody there in one place and they were all talking to each other. So they weren't giving, and they were all sitting there in the lunch break, on the lunchroom, talking about your case and how they can help you, rather than getting like conflicting ideas, and the PT doesn't like the chiro, and no one's talking.
Yeah, like the nurse practitioner might be prescribing meds early on because you're in a horrible amount of pain. But one of the problems is people go, I have to do that for 6 weeks because that's what my doctor said. But at his place, it might be 7.5 days. The PT now is transitioning into more active care, and the chiropractor is able to control your pain. And now 2 weeks later, you'll be off meds because of that interaction.
Yeah. So Aaron, actually, we had to figure out, like, what else does the nurse practitioner do? Because we don't just want to have them be a pill popper, right? They can do lots of other things. So he would probably, if he was here, talk about all kinds of other things that having a nurse practitioner on site does. But it's just another thing to say, here's how we're going to help you. So then we had to really switch Aaron's messaging to just reflect like auto accident and any kind of work accident. And that's kind of all he does. I mean, that's kind of a risk, right? To say, sports stuff we're not going to talk about on the website, because if you start mentioning everything that you do, people are going to get confused and you dilute the message so much. So we really dialed in on that pain idea and the inconvenience of having to drive across town all the time. And so that's kind of nwspinalrehab.com if you want to see what we've done there.
So instead of going for the, hey, we're chiropractors, you should come to us for chiropractic, you said, hey, we're chiropractors who offer a lot of benefit, and probably the most prolific one is convenience.
Yeah. Okay. And you know what? It's not even, I don't even know if we lead with chiropractic all that much anymore. It's more just like your one-stop injury recovery, which hurts us for SEO. But if you do enough other things, like we built a really nice chiropractor page so that there's no doubt in Google's mind that there's a chiropractor here. And in fact, this is going to be the focus. But it's the tension. So it's not even a problem to be solved. It's a tension to be managed. And that if you want to focus on the convenience of the injury recovery, but you also want to be able to nail that Google ranking under chiropractor in your city. So it's a tension, and you got to weigh that balance and use all the best tools. But that's a good case study, I think, of how we're managing the tension, and Google seems to be responding. The other thing we did for Aaron is he loves to invest in videos too. So he's got a couple of testimonials on there. Testimonial videos are so powerful. If you just watch the videos, it's just like, wow, this really made an impact in these ladies' lives. And then we just did a 90-second explainer video, which are not that hard to do anymore. And so we made a little video for him. We have a Spanish version because a lot of his people speak Spanish. And then we also have an English version. It just tells the story of somebody whose life was completely disrupted because of an auto accident. And then they came to Northwest Injury Clinics. They got better again. And he can use that video on the homepage. He can use that video on social media. We put it on his Google My Business page. And you get a lot of traction from just a $1,500 video.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can get it for cheaper if you do it yourself, but we do it from a story brand perspective. So
speaking of convenience, by the way, and I don't mean to, like, I feel like we're just cracking open the can that we can go down. But unfortunately, I have to run to pick up my kids from school. But let me ask you this. So you're talking about convenience. If somebody wants to do a video and they want to do SEO and all that, that's a lot of moving pieces. Mm-hmm. Do you guys help with that? Do you kind of coordinate that?
Yeah, for sure. And this is one of the tensions of working with chiropractors, because so many people don't want to hire someone. And so I love the bootstrappers. I help them. I mean, I don't make a lot of my income from chiropractors. And I've seen the people that do chiropractor marketing, and it's not my style. Maybe it's just not my Canadian style or something, but I just don't want to be a chiropractor. Well,
I think part of it is also the style of chiropractic. I don't think is typically your style of chiropractic, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at perfect example, Kevin Christie. He bootstraps most of his things, right? He's on the videos. He's starting to delegate the production of those things, but he coordinates and writes and does the copy. And
for sure.
But you still help advise him, right? Like it's not just
I've worked with Kev for his new website. We designed it, and then I just helped at the last couple stages.
Whereas
Kevin
Aaron wanted everything.
Yeah, Kevin engages a VA pretty good, so she can do a lot of that stuff. Whereas Aaron, he just likes to not think about it and all that. But my heart is also with the person who wants to do it themselves too. So I like to give away free stuff. So I'll email you, Josh, a website template of a homepage. So we talked a little bit about how you would lay out the homepage. I've made a template just for chiropractors, actually. They can have that as a gift. Another thing that we do would be just some SEO stuff. And a thing that I've launched that we didn't even talk about, Josh, is a brand new template coming out for story branded chiropractic websites. So I learned that these clients I had the same kind of needs. And you can actually, if you can upload a Facebook page, like a Facebook image, you can change your own website. So the backstory is my brother found that he was working with churches and they had high needs and low budget. And I'm like, hey, that sounds a lot like my chiropractors. So I said, for the story brand community, Matt, could you design me a same kind of template? Not on WordPress, so you don't have to deal with the plugin problem. You don't have to do Squarespace where you can't, easily make changes and you could blow up the site so easily. But this is just a very simple page builder that makes beautiful story branded websites. So we haven't yet released the Chiro version of it, but my brother is working on it right now as we speak. Maybe even by the time this comes out, it'll be there. But what it does is just empowers chiropractors to be able to have beautiful sites that flow in the way we've been talking about, and lets you bootstrap your own thing. And secondly, if you have a problem with some contacts, you need some support or whatever, we have humans that answer the phone rather than getting some YouTube tutorial or getting a chat bot or something.
Wow.
It's actual real people to help you. So that was how I kind of showed my heart for chiropractors, just helping them get the tools however they need it. So
everybody listening, I mean, maybe John, in the future we could do a webinar demonstrating that, because I think this is great, but it's a podcast, it's only audio, and I think you showing that visual would be awesome. So
and I'd love to do it with you, Josh. Like I probably need someone to kind of work through it and be asking me, how do you do this or what do you do this, because I'll just do it on autopilot. But if they're interested, you can always go to getclearsites.com. Eventually I'll have it /Chiro.
Slow that down. So that's getclearsites as in
.com.
SITES.
Yeah, exactly. No Canadian version of spelling it, just and then .com as well.
All right, so that's a US based website. That's a patriotic one. We can believe in that one.
There you go.
That one would defend us in war.
A true American would claim .com as their own. You know what I mean?
That's right.
I'm building a wall.
Hey, be careful, because we'll claim other parts of your country as our own too if you're.
It's just a matter of time. I guarantee. Yeah. As soon as you guys run out of water there in Las Vegas, you're coming up north to get your water. I guarantee it.
Well, I always thought that back in the day when Quebec was like threatening to secede from Canada,
Yeah.
I was telling all my Canadian friends, let them secede. And at the time, George W. Bush was the president of the United States, but then we'll invade and take it over
Right.
and change the language to English through force instead of them being, whiny
Yeah.
about their government and
Good.
be like, you had it good, didn't you? Didn't you? You want to go back to Canada now? And then we could do this.
Yeah.
We get this good trade situation going on. Trade Quebec back to Canada for unlimited amount of glacial water, and everybody wins. Except Quebec, but they whine
I can see big blue hats make Quebec Canadian again or something like that. with a big Nordic.
Hey, it'll win. It will. Yeah.
Oh, that's
it's
funny.
a clear message.
It's a clear message. That's right. It'll win. Oh man, we could talk about
all right.
I'm
well,
actually
once again,
not
throw
allowed
out your website so people can like reach out and schedule some time with you if they want to.
Yeah, good. I'm glad you wrapped that up because I can't legally make fun of the French without the secret police coming and arresting me, taking away from my children. So,
all right, well, I'll do it for you.
That's a communist country for you. They do stuff like that,
Yeah. Throw out your website one more time.
Okay, it's getclearsites.com. Getclearsites.com. And if you just the overall site is getclear.ca. So a little bit of confusion there, but you'll figure it out.
All right, but stick with the Get Clear brand and things will work out. So, and if they want to see Aaron's site, by the way, that you kind of tweaked and polished up, that's Northwest or
nwspinalrehab.com. I wish he would have had something like Northwest Injury Clinics, but it was a domain that had some weight, so we kept it for a while. So nwspinalrehab.com, and there should be other ones too. Yeah, we just did the No, that wouldn't help. I'm trying to think of other ones that we've done off the top of my head. Oh, a really good one would be my friend Russ Barron in Winnipeg. He's a good Canadian doctor. sunchiro.ca. You can see how that story brand motif is kind of played out again. And then there would be another one that's doing well on Google, activelifechiropractic.ca as well. So there's lots of different ones, but we'll provide.
All right, well, we'll try and throw all those in the show notes so people can link to them. All right?
Yep.
All right.
Great.
Well, thank you, John, for being on today. I'm definitely going to contact you. Let's do a webinar together for our people because I know that as they add the gym, they probably want to polish or clear up their messaging. And you're the guy to do it. So on behalf of Jon Morrison up there in the beautiful Great White North, this is Dr. Josh Satterlee. Say, go out there, maximize your license, and live the life you dream of. Thanks, John.
Thanks, Josh. And thank you, everyone, for listening.
Hey, how about that? Another great interview here on Clinic Gym Radio. Listen, if you're serious about starting up your own Clinic Gym Hybrid, then please go to clinicgymhybrid.com and check out our website there. We also love to get you involved in our accelerator program, which will walk you through step-by-step the 42 pieces you need to start your own Clinic Gym Hybrid. I'm Dr. Josh Satterlee. We'll talk to you later.